Hello and welcome. We are going to get started right away today. I do have again the wrong number on here. This is class number 23, so disregard that 22 there. Go ahead and draw a box or whatever shape it is you'd like to use for this pattern. And then you're going to draw some vertical lines that are probably about 3/4 of an inch to an inch apart. They don't need to be perfectly straight. Just kind of draw them evenly across the section. You might have kind of a small little one like I do here. That's okay. And then as you go, you're going to now draw some wavy lines across. So they don't have to be a very wicked wave. It's just going to be kind of a light wave. So basically you're making a grid. The vertical lines are straight-ish and the horizontal lines are wavy-ish. So just something nice and easy like that. Alright, so now I'm just going to pick a row here. I'm going to kind of divide this one here. I'm going to do it vertically. You can match what I'm doing, or after you kind of see what I'm going to do, you can do your own. So now that I've divided this section here, I'm going to basically draw around the entire section, and I'm going to round the edges. So imagine that you're drawing some stones, and it has to fit perfectly in whatever shape it is that you do. And then you can do this beforehand or after. You're going to color in all the little gaps that are around each stone. You can just wait until you have it all drawn. That's fine too. So this one I think I'll make the whole entire section. So it's kind of just like a squarish or rectangular stone, a very large one. And then I'm going to get those corners again, like that. And this one, I'll divide it into horizontal ones. And you see how I have the line kind of going up? That's totally fine. So I'm going to have kind of a wonky piece here at the top, a little one. And then down here I'm going to make one obviously horizontal as well, but it's a little bit thicker, kind of an odd shape. And again, every corner of the stones are curved. So this one here I'm going to divide into 3 sections. So it's just going to be 3 little cobblestone type style. And I'm not drawing ovals, just be aware of that. I'm drawing whatever shape my section is. So if I have this rectangular section, I'm going to follow my line that I drew originally. And then I'm going to come down this line, on the bottom line, and on the side line. And the only thing that's different is that I'm drawing those rounded corners. And then coloring in the area around it. So I'm sure you get the idea. And I have this one little section. Not much I can do here, so I'm just going to make it look like a big rock and be just the kind of the edge there. So that's what you're going to do in all the different rows that you do. I'm going to add the shading here on the side. They're just little tick marks, little side pieces here, and the bottom is kind of angled up a little bit. So it'll be, for me, mine are going to be on the left side and the bottom of each rock. So you can do these on either with, you can do the shading either with the Sharpie like I'm doing. It's more of a stylized shading where you just kind of do these like hatch marks, these little tick marks to kind of create that extra shadow. Or you can actually get a pencil or a pen or make it look like real rocks, whatever it is that you want to do. Anyway is fine. But I would advise you that you put some kind of shading on there because it will help the rocks appear to be a little bit more 3D than if you just leave them solid with that black mortar background. So it should look something like this. I mean, it doesn't have to look exactly like this, but that's the idea. Alright, so you see, I'm going to do the top row, I have this big one here. I'm not going to have them stacked, so I want to make sure that the space directly above where I have a large stone doesn't necessarily have a large stone. You can have, of course, some nearby each other, and you can have maybe a section where there's 2 or 3, large stones, and then whatever else. You just want to make sure you change up your pattern so that it's not all horizontal in one area, a whole bunch of verticals, or a whole bunch of large stones up in the right corner, and then nothing else anywhere else. So you just want to watch your pattern a little bit as you're going through. Don't think too hard about it, but kind of watch your pattern a little bit to make sure you're not putting everything the same in one section. So as you probably noticed in that other section there, this second to last row, I didn't do any tick marks. It's because I wanted to show you that you can actually shade it with pencil. So this one here, I'm just going to do a light shade on the left and on the bottom. And just kind of hold the pencil in the middle or the end of the pencil, or hold it above it. Kind of do a top grip on it, and you can kind of do the shading from that way as well. But you don't ever want to just shade with the point of the pencil, because it's going to create too many stark lines. So you want to kind of use the side if you're actually going to use a pencil to shade. So something like that. I'm just going to go back over with my finger and kind of just smudge those a smidge more. You don't have to. You can use, I'm sorry, you can just use the pencil and do that without the smudging part. It's up to you. Or you can just use the tick marks that you drew with the pen in the beginning. I don't even know how easy this is to see on the video, but it's just a light shade. You can certainly make it much more dark and things like that. Whatever it is, it looks good to you. So something like that. Alright, so now we're going to go on to the next one. You can draw whatever shape that you want on there. Perfect. And now you're going to divide the section horizontally using double sets of lines. So they're pretty close together. Right, just like that. And they can be relatively straight-ish. They don't have to be perfect, but something like that. And these lines obviously don't touch. They're parallel, so you don't want to have them touching each other. And they're not super-duper close together, so you can actually just do this part with a thick Sharpie if you'd like, and just draw your horizontal lines versus having the double lines. Either way is fine. Now you're going to go back and you're going to divide each section. So I have double sets of lines going vertically. And it's going to be kind of like, you have to think of this as a wood plank. That's what it is. It's a wood plank pattern. So it's kind of like the boards are coming together. They don't really always line up. Sometimes you may have a smaller plank and a large plank. Sometimes you might have, one that's way off on the side. Whatever. So you can divide it however you want. You don't have to do it like I did. Just something like that. And now on each plank, you're going to kind of do the worn look, where it looks like it's split a little bit. And this is just a series of triangles. So you can draw these little splits or cracks or old edges as deep or as long as you'd like. So let me draw up here so you can see it a little bit bigger. So you're just going to draw a little triangle down and then back up. And then you can draw some little ones up here. And you're going to color those in so that they're really dark. So something like that. And whenever you have back-to-back splits like this, you don't want to have them line up exactly. So you shouldn't have a triangle on the top and then one going one direction and the triangle in the exact same spot going the other direction. It looks a little strange. So you just want to kind of do it randomly on each plank, on each end of each plank, I should say. And then as you can see, those double lines that we drew, vertical and horizontal, will both get colored in. So you can just save that for the end. It's up to you what you want to do with that. Alright, so now we're going to draw the knots on each board. So I'm just going to pick any one. You can start wherever you want to. And you're just going to draw a little oval. Doesn't have to be very big. You don't want it to be overly obnoxiously huge. Just kind of randomly drawn on the plank. They shouldn't be lined up exactly either. So I'm going to draw my first wood grain. It comes straight down, or horizontal I should say, and then it goes right around a little knot. So come down, kind of swoop around, and it should not touch the knot. None of these lines should touch each other. Sometimes they get pretty close, but they shouldn't touch each other. And now to fill in the wood grain, I'm just going to continue to trace these knots in a very wavy, sporadic pattern. It shouldn't be an exact copy of the line before. You should just have these little pieces in here maybe to fill them in. You can do whatever looks good, but they shouldn't be carbon copies of the line that you drew before. It should be a little bit more wonky or a little less wonky or whatever it is. This one kind of goes off the page a little bit. And just kind of fill it in like that. So something like that. And you can do that to all of them then. Make sure you start with your knots first. I'll have this one here kind of go off. And just go around it like that. And then fill in the rest. So something just like that. I have this little piece at the end. I just kind of put some little stripe pieces on there. There we go. So you get the idea. Oh, and don't forget to go back and color your knots in. I'm sorry, I should have told you that. You're going to color the knots in really dark. Or dark, some kind of dark pencil or whatever it is that you're using. Just like that. So you can carry on through the rest of your pattern with the same type of process. So now I'm going to use the Sharpie, and I'm just going to color in those vertical double sets of lines I drew. Again, like I said in the beginning, you could actually just go ahead and draw that with a Sharpie right away, versus coming back to draw it later. It's up to you. I just want to color it in nice and dark. Both horizontal and vertical, so these are the vertical ones, obviously. So something just like that looks really, really neat. You can actually use this wood plank thing as a kind of a border. I'm not going to draw the entire pattern, but you'll get the idea. You can have the planks kind of just side by side, so it's just a freestanding rectangle against or close to another freestanding rectangle. And then you just do the same thing where you draw the little pieces. So don't forget, you can use it as a border. You can make kind of a little picture frame or a medallion or something anywhere on your drawing. Alright, so now we're going to do the last one. This is kind of a chain link type of design. So you're going to go down and you're going to draw kind of like a Roman motif. So it's just a line with a bump up, a line with a bump down, and you're going to kind of continue on with this square type of zigzag. The piece that goes up and down, or as it looks on the video, left and right, shouldn't be too thin. It should be maybe a 1/4 inch or more. I mean, you don't want to have it too skinny, otherwise you're not going to be able to get all your details in on the whole thing. So just something like that. So now I'm going to go on the left side here, and I'm going to trace my first view. I'm going to go on the right, and I'm going to trace them on the outside. So I'm basically just doubling up all of these lines. So come over, and come down, and come back. Over, down, and back. These lines can start to play with your eyes a little bit until you get the shading on there. So if you want to just do one whole side, and then go and do the other side, whatever's easier for you to do is totally fine. And again, these lines don't touch. You don't want them super close, but you don't want them to be super, super far away either. Just kind of keep your spacing around each bump out the same or similar. So I moved in a little closer here. So we're going to do this inside piece. You're going to step in a little bit and draw a double set of lines here. So step in a bit, draw a line, and then draw another one on the inside. So this is going to complete the chain link. Come in, up, and down. Step in. Make sure you always do that little step in before you draw the first line. That's the outside line, and then another line. And if you draw it too far towards the end, it will look a little strange. It won't look like they're actually pieces that link together. Just it looks odd. So make sure you take that little step in. Something like that. So now we're going to do a little bit of shadow, a little bit more of like a 3D effect. So on this inside view, my original line that I drew, I'm going to thicken that up a little bit. So I'm going to do the top, the long line, and then the bottom. The top. Now this is the original line that I drew, not the extra doubling up lines that we drew. It's on the original lines that we drew. It's going to be the top, the side, and the bottom. Top, side, and bottom. And this is on the left side. Top, side, and bottom. So these are the left side pieces on what you see on the screen. Or if you're drawing yours straight, it might be on the bottom. So on the right side, you're going to go on the outside, which is the second piece that we drew. So it's not the original line. This is the bump out piece. So you're going to do the outside and the bottom of the bump out. The outside here, and the bottom of the bump out here. And again, you're just thickening up. You can use a little bit thicker marker or Sharpie. You can make it as thick as you'd like, but keep it consistent. And look at the bottom. And you can kind of start to see that it's making more of a 3D effect when you add these lines on there. But this one here is just the side and the bottom. The right side and the bottom. And this one doesn't have a bottom, but it's just the right side. Good. Alright, so now we're going to do the link pieces on the left here. You're just going to do the inside line of the extra section that we drew. So just that inside line, you're going to double that up. Just like that. Perfect. And then on the outside lines that we added extra, it's going to be on the outside. So that's the outside line. Outside line, outside line, and the outside line. Very good. So now I'm going to grab my pencil. I'm going to add a little bit more shading. You can skip this part if you want. It's going to be any place where the link kind of goes under another piece, or looks like it goes behind another piece. You want to add this really stark, kind of a thicker, sorry, not thicker, heavier line of shadowing. So I'm using the pencil because I don't want it to be black. I don't want it to take away from my actual link design, so I'm just using a pencil. And this time I'm actually using the tip because I want it to be a pretty heavy shadow here. So it's just like a little section right underneath there. And then I'm going to do another piece. Think about it for a second here. Oh, right here where it goes on, when it goes like behind and in. So it's just another little like hard shade line here. Keep getting lost. It's easy to do with all these lines going back and forth. So basically any place where it looks like it goes behind or under another link, you're going to put some kind of a shadow there. And you can again do that however you wish. I may have missed a few in there, but it looks something like that. So I think I hope that you like the designs for today. They're not too complicated, but they are kind of a natural pattern. So we have stone, wood, and steel here, so that's kind of fun. Don't forget, we do have classes live in the library from 4 to 5 every Thursday. Registration and masks are required. Hope you have a great day.